Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video today, I am going to discuss the basic orientation of IELTS Writing Task 1 for Academic IELTS. And not just the basic structure, the basic orientation, but towards the end, I would also be discussing the basic do's and don'ts which are very important for us to take care of while preparing for Task 1. So without any further ado, let's get into the video.
So, in this session, I'm going to talk to you about the basics of writing task 1 for academic IELTS. And by basics, I mean the illustration of how exactly the different type of writing task 1 reported look like, along with the structuring. And towards the end, I shall also be discussing the do's and the don'ts, which are very important for us to take care of. So, when we talk about writing task 1, you need to understand that this is actually going to be a graphical presentation. Graphical presentation, that means in form of a picture, in form of an illustration, which might have statistics or which might have, you know, just some information, maybe about a building, maybe a layout of a building or a place, and all you have to do is just summarize it. You'll be given with a picture. Okay, as I told you, it can have the percentages or maybe the numbers to it, or it can be without these two, and all you have to do is just summarize it. And by summarizing, we mean highlighting the striking and the main features and making the comparisons wherever you feel relevant. Then the total duration is for 20 minutes. You are given only 20 minutes to analyze it, to prepare, and then structure the whole writing task 1. Now, the word range. You're supposed to write graph, that is IELTS task 1 for academics, within 150 to 180 words. 150 is the minimum, and of course we know that the tasks, be it the essay or be it the graph, should not be under length, and 180 is the apt maximum word limit. Why not beyond that? Because the more you write, number one, more mistakes you are going to commit, and second, to be honest, examiner is not really interested in reading a whole lot of the information which you have put across. That also means that you have not summarized it, but actually you have given a detailed description of the task 1, which is not required. Now, coming to the number of body paragraphs. So, 3 minimum to 4 maximum body paragraphs are sufficient, including the introduction and the overall. See, there is always a confusion going on among the students if we are going to write the conclusionary body paragraph for task 1, or if you're not supposed to write the conclusion body paragraph. Basically, if we talk about the earlier format, the previous format, there used to be the conclusion, but now there is no conclusion to the task 1. Rather, writing conclusion, we have started giving this overall body paragraph, which we accommodate after the introduction. So it is introduction, then it is the overall, then BP1, and then BP2. Then, to understand the task 1, it is very important, and I guess it will be very helpful if the student is categorizing it into two broader categories: the statistical and the non-statistical. So statistical and non-statistical will become more clearer to you in the further slides when I give you the description, the illustration, that how exactly these two look like. So here I have explained in brief, I would say, the both the types, the statistical and the non-statistical. So the first, okay, so the reason that I call them or I define them as statistical and then the non-statistical is, of course, because of the very fact that one part, or say one type of the task 1, is the one which is having the percentages and the numbers to it, and then the second category which you have does not have the numbers or any percentage added to it. So this category mainly has the bar graph, line, table, mixed graph, wherein you can maybe have a bar graph or line graph together, or bar graph or a pie chart together. That's why it's called a mixed graph. And then we have a pie chart. And for this category, we have a map. Now, map basically is going to be a layout, okay? And map can be of two types basically, which is, commonly reported. Number one type is wherein you are supposed to make a comparison between a land or maybe a piece of land in 1950, and you have to compare it to 2021 maybe, okay, or maybe 2020. That is the present and the past. And then you have the second category wherein you are supposed to make a comparison between not just the past and the present, but there are some proposed changes to it as well, that how this place is going to look like in maybe the next 50 years, right? Then it is a flow chart and the process and manufacturing. So manufacturing is actually can be called a process in itself, right? But it was important for me to highlight it in different slabs for you to have a better understanding of, the different types of the tasks which are reported. Now here is the sample. Here is the illustration that how exactly the tasks they look when they are reported. Now here, as you can see, this is a bar graph. Okay, the numbers, the percentages are highlighted, and these are the categories in which the information has been mentioned. You have to look at the graph, you have to analyze the striking feature, which is the lowest one, the highest, or maybe the middle value. That's what you're supposed to extract from it. This is how the line graph looks like. That's a line graph. Now, it can be a single line as well. It can be two, maybe four. All right. That means multiple graphical presentations can also be there. Okay. Next, we have with us the sample for the table and the pie chart. So this is how the table chart looks like, and the pie chart, of course. So you see, it is very important for any candidate to first know how the samples which are reported look, and what exactly the information is there, how you are going to plan, how you're going to structure. So the planning, the structuring, or maybe organizing, that's secondary. But if you exactly are not aware about the types, if you're not aware about what exactly is the name of this particular graph, then I think that information, your practice, your training will be incomplete. It will be half. Now, this is a sample illustration of how a map and how a flow chart looks like. So, as I was telling you, as you can see, in the map, this is an area. For example, this is area A in 1995, and then we have the same area which is in the present. And as you can see, there are certain changes made to it, to the north, the west, maybe the south. So these are the changes which you will have to describe in your body paragraph. And then we have the flow chart. So the flow chart, that's how it looks like. You're supposed to describe the different stages, you have to elaborate them, what follows what, and flowchart or maybe the map. Two main body paragraphs are always sufficient to detail the information. You see, when it comes to the non-statistical, such as the map, the flowchart, and then this last, that is called the manufacturing here. When it comes to these charts, what I feel the challenge is the elaboration, because in statistical category you already have enough of data to be explained in terms of the words. But when it comes to the manufacturing, it becomes very difficult for any student to expand the different stages which are mentioned, because we don't have enough of the word range available with us, right? So that actually can be one of the many challenges which I believe you, while practicing for IELTS writing task 1, might face. Okay, so this exactly was the illustration. This was the example of how the charts look like. That was again an important aspect for us to have discussed. Now let's talk about the structure here. And by structure, I mean how you are going to organize the ideas into different body paragraphs. So unlike writing task 2, you are not supposed to make 5 body paragraphs for this, because let's be clear, it's for 20 minutes only. You're supposed to write only 150 words. to maximum 180. So I think two body paragraphs would be sufficient. So number one is introduction. Introduction is maximum, from 3 to 4 lines. And all you have to do is just rephrase the question statement itself. Then you leave a line, you make another body paragraph, which is called overall. Now, overall, see, every graph is going to have a certain striking feature to it, certain trend to it, increasing, decreasing, maybe fluctuating, maybe some significant changes. So you are supposed to do in the overall body paragraph is just highlight that trend. You are not supposed to, you are not going to actually highlight the percentages, the numbers, because that's what is supposed to be there in the body paragraphs. All right, so overall is just about a summarization, I would say, kind of summarization, that if the examiner, if the reader is taking a look at this particular BP, then it should be clear enough that okay, what exactly is there in the task which you are attempting. Then we have BP1 and BP2, which is all about the comparisons and just explaining the striking features. So that's the structure. Now talking about the do's and the don'ts. Let's first talk about the don'ts here. So number one is you are not going to copy from the question. Okay, so there is this question statement. The question statement can be rephrased when you are making an introduction body paragraph, but you cannot copy it because your words will not be counted, because you have already copied those words from the question itself. So those words are not going to get counted, which can actually hamper, or which can actually disrupt the total word count which you have written for this particular task. So do not try to copy. Next is do not focus on describing all the trends and details. See, in the beginning itself, I had told you already that task one is all about summarizing the trends, the striking features, making comparisons. But you are not supposed to describe all the trends, because if you do that, there is this one problem which I believe will always be there. That is the repetition of the words, which of course you wouldn't want. Then we have third, there should be no personal opinions or maybe the comments. Why so? Because the data is already there and you are not supposed to interpret it according to your assumptions, what you think about it and what you believe about it. So you're not going to make use of the personal opinions. For example, I believe that, I can see that, I think. So just refrain from that. And this point is also related to this previous one itself, that you are not going to use the personal pronouns. For example, I, we, you, us. Last is no contractions, no abbreviations, because don't forget that you are writing a formal, you know, writing task. So the formal language structure is required. So contractions are a big no. So you will write full form. You're not supposed to write don't and can't. You have to write do not and cannot. So no abbreviated forms or no contractions. Then we talk about the do's here, which are important, of course. You have to pay attention to the features. Now, by this I mean the features, the striking features, the highlights, the increasing number, the decreasing, the gradual changes. Okay, maybe the change which has just leveled off, the change which has declined now. So these are the main features of any graph which you have to pay special attention to. Next is you will always write within the word range. And the word range is 150 to 180 words. Do not write 149 or 148 words, because that will make your task under length. And as in the previous slide, I was telling you that if you're going to write beyond 200 words or maybe one more than 180 words, that means number one, you have written more than that is required. And second, the more you write, more you stand the chances of committing the errors. So don't. Next we have is the signposting language, usage of the signposting language. What exactly is a signpost language? See, signpost language be it task 2 or be it task 1, is a collection of the words or the phrases which is going to tell the listener or maybe the reader that what has happened and what is going to happen. So in terms of task 1, the signpost words or maybe the phrases can be, the graph shows, illustrates, it is evident from the graph, it increased, it will increase, or it has decreased. So the words which are going to highlight the changes which have happened and the changes which are going to happen. So these are the signposting languages, I mean the phrases which we can call. So these are very important for us to make use of in our writing. And yes, signpost language is also there in the speaking, but that is a completely whole different aspect to be discussed. And last we have is the practicing on IELTS writing sheet. So see, we have the real examination sheet for IELTS writing available on Google itself to be downloaded. So you can practice if you are practicing on your own at home. Otherwise, if you are at or maybe associated with certain institute, you can just ask them for these sheets. Why so? Because you need to understand that if you are practicing on the real examination sheet, then only you will learn that how you are going to accommodate a minimum of 150 words on that particular sheet, because your registers and your diaries do not allow you with that, right? So that's about it for today's video. We will definitely be coming up with the different types and uh, the strategies to tackle maybe the bar graph, the line graph, or the map. But as I told you, this video was all about the basics to learn to exactly know what IELTS writing task 1 is all about. Now, if you think there was still something you needed more information about and you still have some query which you want us to address, then feel free to reach us. We are more than happy to help you. So, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Take care and happy practicing.